Donald Trump's hand-picked U.S. attorney for Maryland put in place there in order to prosecute his political critics like Senator Adam Schiff, just put on the emergency brake. And according to sources supported by MSNBC, she told Todd Blanche in the Department of Justice she's not going to prosecute Senator Adam Schiff for mortgage fraud because she doesn't see mortgage fraud. The problem Donald Trump now has is Kelly O. Hayes, and you can fill in down in comments what you think the O stands for now. Kelly O. Hayes just obtained the indictment against Ambassador John Bolton in Maryland, and now, like any good career prosecutor who has ethics, who's following the principles of federal prosecution, who's following the Department of Justice manual, took one look at a secret memo that now has been leaked, obtained by the LA Times, about Adam Schiff and his two mortgages, one in California, where he's the senator from the great state, and one in Maryland, where he's got his home, where he does, he's got a job. He's a senator. You got to live near Washington for that most of the year. She took one look at the memo I'm going to show you, and she said, there's no fraud here. Even Donald Trump's own administration, even his own federal housing corporation, even his own Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac entity and their inspector general's office and their office of criminal investigation doesn't believe there's mortgage fraud. And that memo alone kills the case, and Kelly O. Hayes knows all about it. So do I. You're here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF for breaking news. I'm going to bring it to you now. Apparently nobody told Donald Trump that the case against Adam Schiff stinks, and that no career prosecutor is going to bring it. He's going to have to fire Kelly O. Hayes if he's going to install some other insta prosecutor like Lindsey Halligan in order to do it. Because he was off bragging today about Adam Schiff. We're going to be indicting Adam Schiff next on the list. Donald Trump checking all the boxes. They're just all the wrong boxes. Here's clueless Donald Trump. Nobody is told he doesn't have a case. Let's play the clip.
Right. So we'll do a few more and we'll go home.
Wonderful.
Everybody's going to go home. I'm going back to the Oval Office, however.
Speaking of Democrats, there's a report that there's a grand jury on Adam Schiff for apparent mortgage fraud. If he is indicted, should he step down as a U.S. Senator?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I would just say Adam Schiff is one of the lowest forms of scum I've ever dealt with in politics. He's a horrible human being, very dishonest person. I have no idea what's going on. You tell me that he's going to be indicted. I don't know. You could ask Pam. I don't know if she could say it. Probably you are allowed to say it, but I wouldn't know about that. I can only tell you he's a very bad. I think he's actually a sick person. Do you want to talk about that?
We're not going to comment on any grand jury that's open. We can't legally.
I don't know. By the way, I hope it's true, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah, please.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago or so, somebody wrote out for Donald Trump an entire Truth Social posting, obviously not written by him, outlining the case against Adam Schiff, except in a very important line, they changed the verb, the language, the verbiage that was being used in that secret memo and made it look like the government concluded that he committed mortgage fraud. And that's not what the memo said. I'm going to put the memo up on the screen. I'm going to put the Truth Social up on the screen, and you will see the difference. Let's get into it. Adam Schiff, harsh critic, proper critic of Donald Trump. Donald Trump sees him as a political enemy, calls him Shifty Schiff, doesn't like him because Adam Schiff did things for America, like one of the House managers for the impeachment when he was a congressperson from California before the people of California elevated him to senator, kicked him upstairs, so to speak. Hasn't liked him ever since, has wanted to go after him ever since. Problem is the house is in Maryland that Schiff owns. He has a house in Pasadena in California, one in Maryland. You got to be prosecuted in the place where the property is for mortgage fraud. And that brings us to Kelly O. Hayes, career prosecutor. Unlike Letitia James, worked in the office, worked her way up the office. Why was she picked by Pam Bondi and then picked by Donald Trump? I guess they thought she was going to do their bidding. And she did when it came to Bolton. But then she got the shifty shift letter, so to speak. Apologies to Senator Schiff. Here's what the letter says, and then I'm going to read to you from the social media post where Donald Trump or somebody ghostwriting for him got it wrong. Here's the memo that's been published by the LA Times, July 24th of 2025. And let me give you the cast of characters. Bill Pulte, director of the U.S. Federal Housing, which we call Freddie Mac. He sits over Fannie Mae, another entity like that. They have an Office of Inspector General. They have a Financial Crimes Investigation Unit. But almost never in the history of America has the Office of Inspector General for one brother, because these are siblings, reached out to the Crime Investigation Unit looking for documents about one person, in this case, Adam Schiff. So already a cooked investigation, if you know what I mean. Bill Pulte is the Nepo baby, heir to the Pulte family, construction fortune, sort of bought his way into becoming the chairperson of this committee. He's MAGA through and through. He's a Trumper through and through. He's a baby Trumper. He wants to run for office one day, and he's been doing Donald Trump's bidding in an orchestrated, choreographed scheme in which Bill Pulte pulls the mortgages, misrepresents them about people that Donald Trump doesn't like the Federal Reserve chairperson or the Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, or in this case, Adam Schiff, and then cuts and pastes and slaps and dashes and puts it all together and says, hey, mortgage fraud. Yeah, no. So Bill Pulte gets a memo sent to him because he asked for it that says the following. On May 12th, the Fannie Mae Financial Crimes Investigation received a document demand from its brother, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, Office of Inspector General, concerning the properties located at blank about Adam Schiff and the loan file. The investigation identified occupancy misrepresentation at best, involving two properties, one in Maryland and one in Burbank, California. Both loans paid off. No lender could have been defrauded. They certainly didn't speak to a lender. How do you have mortgage fraud without a bank being defrauded? You think the bank that gave him the Pasadena loan didn't know when they ran the search that he also had a loan in Maryland and vice versa? They all know he's the senator from California. The Maryland bank could not have been defrauded, and there's no reference to it here. They go through this line, and here's the line that Donald Trump carefully edits in his social media post. The line is this, conclusion. Fannie Mae Financial Crimes Investigation concluded that Adam Schiff engaged in a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation on Fannie Mae loans. Yeah, that's not what Trump said. Here's what Trump said. Listen to these words. I've always suspected Shifty Adam Schiff was a scam artist, and now I learn that Fannie Mae's Financial Crimes Division have concluded that Adam Schiff has engaged in a sustained pattern of possible mortgage fraud. That's not what that says. Put that back up on the screen. It says engaged in a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation. There's no crime there. Where is the file that says they spoke to the bank and the bank was defrauded? Isn't that the essence of fraud? Somebody has to be defrauded. You have to give false statements to them. They have to rely on your false statements to their detriment and be out money as a result. Where is that? Nowhere.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the MeidasTouch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popok's new law firm. It's called the Popok Firm. Michael Popok's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm, really based on the popular demand by all the Meidas, Mighty, and legal AFers who were approaching Michael Popok with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popok was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popok Firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popok's firm is free. Give him a call. See if you have a case. It's thepopokfirm.com, thepopokfirm.com, or you can call 1-877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popok a call. And I'm really proud of you, Popok. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in.
And that's the memo and things like it that I'm sure Kelly O'Hayes is very concerned about. She can't bring this prosecution knowing that. Who's pushing it? The reporting from MSNBC with double confirmation is that Kelly O'Hayes met with Todd Blanche, the number 2 in the Department of Justice, Donald Trump's current and former criminal defense lawyer. He's like the bad cop. He runs things. He's like the CEO of the operation. His number two, or the third in there, is Stan Woodward. He's the chief operating officer of this entity called the Department of Justice. Had a meeting with Kelly O'Hayes. They probably were popping champagne over the fact that she was able to obtain an indictment against Ambassador Bolton for espionage and mishandling of top secret documents. Hooray! And then she said, let's talk about some of my other cases. I can't bring the case against Adam Schiff. And then you could just hear the deflation in the room. We can listen for it now. Shh. Pop the balloon. The pop of the balloon. Oh my God. So what are they going to do now? Kelly O'Hayes. Now you can tell me again what you think the O stands for. I think it's an exclamation. I think it's an exclamation. I think it's an expletive. I think it's O Schiff. Oh, Schiff. There we go. I just came up with it. Who's pushing this? Ed Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, our real Attorney General, Eagle Ed Martin. He's the head of the Weaponization Committee for the Department of Justice. Nothing has ever been more properly named than that. Working under Pam Bondi. But he's Donald Trump's prosecutor of choice, the flavor of the week. He's the one he uses to go after all of his political enemies. You want to go after Letitia James? Ed Martin will put on his trench coat, go marching around, looking into windows at some of her properties. You want to go after James Comey? Oh, Ed Martin. You need Lindsay Halligan, who's been a prosecutor for all of, I'm looking at my watch, 72 hours to go get an indictment. Ed Martin will help her. Who else helped her? What'd she do? Go on ChatGPT and ask for a script on how to indict somebody at a grand jury? That might have happened. Certainly nobody in the Department of Justice drove down to Virginia, took the 45-minute drive to help her. I didn't see Janine Pirro there. I didn't see Todd Blanche there. I didn't see Woodward there, Stan Woodward. I didn't see Pam Bondi. So who helped her? Ed Martin. That's why we got a battle going on between Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche on one side, Ed Martin and Lindsay Halligan on the other. And who's caught in the middle of this feud? Kelly O. Schiff Hayes. She's going to be throwing away her career soon. There's papers in Maryland who are speculating her job is over. Oh, Kelly, we hardly knew you. And now you're being shown the door because Donald Trump's handpicked U.S. Attorney for Maryland, he put in place to go after Adam Schiff, said, no, I can't do it under the principles of federal prosecution, under the Department of Justice manual. I cannot do it under my bar license. So shout out to Kelly O. Hayes for doing the right thing. We'll continue to follow it here, as we always do, on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Slide over to Legal AF, hit the YouTube subscribe button. You want to be there with us. You need this information, and we need you. Meidas is under attack. Legal AF is under attack. The way we are insulated is by having you there with us, continuing to grow our community on Legal AF YouTube. Same thing on Legal AF Substack. Legal AF Substack. For $6.77 a month, become a paid member. Now you're a full-blown card-carrying member, full-fledged card-carrying, let me try it again. Full-fledged card-carrying, stays in the pod. Full-fledged card-carrying member of Legal AF and its community. Appreciate all that you do. I'm Michael Popok. Until my next report. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.